With what you're doing now, so it sounds like you're doing a lot of the same training. How many days a week are you typically doing strength training? And I guess how many days a week are you doing like focused skill training? What's a weekly layout look like
So
for
kind
you?
of like I like to start off Mondays with more like what I call like a slow burn type of workout where I'm doing like slower movements, just getting my body back from the weekend and like a lot of burning. So it's a body weight workout that just kind of burns and it's like a slow there's no explosive movements. And just because it's the beginning of the week and just like my other workouts, like when I do my boot camps, I try to keep it slower on Monday because there's more heart attacks on Mondays than any other day of the week. So just with
Makes
that in
sense.
mind, I usually keep it that way. And then I build throughout the week. And usually on Wednesday, I'll do like a strength training. So once a week, I'll do some power cleans and do that type of stuff, push presses and different medicine ball things. And then as the week goes on, every single day I do some sort of grappling thing. So I'm either playing takedowns, upper body, or with with freestyle wrestling or Greco-Roman. And then almost I would say 3 times a week I'm on the ground doing jiu-jitsu stuff because I'm still competing in like the senior division. But the thing that I enjoy the most about competing is I do what they call the absolute division. It's like at 180 pounds, I'm competing against guys, 260 pounds, 270 pounds, and
Mm.
that's the joy of the whole competition to win the absolute division.
Wow, that's
So,
interesting, man.
yeah, I really got to train smart.
That is hardcore right there. Yeah, definitely, man. So let's back up a little bit because you mentioned your boot camp. I forgot to mention that at the start. So, what are you doing as far as like? Because I know you're doing a lot of stuff online, and we'll talk more about that in a second. But do you have an actual facility, gym? Because I know you're still training people.
Yeah, so I have one gym, and by us in about 2 months, I got a new location with 3,000 square feet. I mean,
Okay.
Hawaii is really expensive to have property,
Yeah.
so right now I'm in a gym like 700 square feet.
Yeah.
That's all the mats I have. But I do boot camps there. I do grappling classes, self defense, all that kind
Cool.
of stuff. Um, that's where I'm at, and I sublease a couple other jiu-jitsu places throughout the island. So I got 3 other locations that we just do the early mornings when they don't have any jiu-jitsu classes.
Very cool, man. So, what I'm interested in is, and I know a lot of people will be interested in this, is with the amount of popularity that MMA training has been getting, over the last 5 years, it's just blown up, and you're seeing more of the just unconventional MMA type stuff showing up in like the Globo type gyms, like the battling ropes and like you're talking about pushing the sleds around,
Yeah.
sandbags, different stuff like that. And is that was kind of more associated with the MMA crowd more so when it started coming up, and now you're starting to see that pop up and like I said, big chain gyms and stuff like that. So you mentioned you train a boot camp, so I'm guessing, and I'm pretty sure that you're blending some of that stuff in with your boot camps. I guess what type of workouts are you doing for your boot camps?
Yeah, so in my boot camps, like when I set up like a station workout, it's got sleds where you're pushing the sled or pulling the sled depending on the day. I got a lot of TRX work in there. I got battle ropes going. I got sandbags going. We got medicine ball work going. Pull up bars. We got all different kinds of stuff besides the regular boot camp type of movements. Um, I'm doing I would say the last 5 years I've been doing an MMA boot camp, which entitles punching, kicking,
Yeah,
knees, elbows, which just adds this extra element to the workout, right? And it just bumps up your heart rate that much more. And it's fun. I mean, people get to hit stuff, and women love hitting things. So the workout's been super good. I've been doing like some certifications. I have a few people that I've certified so far in doing MMA boot camps, and I don't want it to be kind of like Taibo or
yeah,
Thai aerobics or any of that kind of stuff. I want people to actually be able to hit in case one day they want to hit someone, they could
sure.
hit. And I want also like real fighters, if they came and did the workout, they're not just rolling their eyes going, oh gosh, this is
Yeah,
like
I hear you, man.
Thai aerobics or turbo kickboxing.
Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that because I'm starting to see more and more of those types of facilities pop up where it's just basically that's what it is. It's kind of like Taibo kickboxing, and you see people just kind of going through the motions. But as far as that I mean, I've never done a camp like that, but I know it'd be fun, especially like you mentioned. Mondays is like the biggest day for heart attacks. I think like a class where you go in and punch stuff, kick stuff. I think Mondays would be a good day for that.
Yeah. And it's kicking shields, Thai pads, and focus mitts, and so people learn how to use those. So it's always and impact is just almost the same as any type of plyo stuff. So
Definitely.
you're gaining mass in bone density that way too.
Cool. Yeah, so we kind of mentioned what your weekly layout training kind of looks like. And I know I get a lot of questions from people wanting to know more about how to train kind of like an MMA fighter. They're not necessarily looking to ever step into the ring. So I guess what kind of tips would you give people? I guess what are some of the biggest mistakes you see people make when they try to get into that type of training?
So I think one of the biggest mistakes I see in all the training camps, like for the different MMA fighters, is that they start off trying to get too much strength instead of endurance and explosiveness. So a lot of times your speed and endurance will take you a lot farther than that sheer one, that one superset or that one heavy bench press or that one super heavy squat. Because then you got one explosion and then you're done.
Yeah.
So the key is to be able to build that explosion where you can continuously do it, and even after 3 minutes in the ring, you still got 2 minutes more, and you still got it all the way to the end, and round by round by round. And again, overtraining is a key for the whole thing. A lot of the fighters are now becoming a lot smarter, but like the old camps that I used to go to, I used to be like, wow, it was like, how hard can you go? How heavy can you lift? Instead of how many reps can you do, and then slowly build that strength in there. Being able to do 40 reps in a few minutes.
Yeah, that's interesting. And with that point that you make, versus just being brutally strong, because I mean obviously it's specific to the sport, so that would apply to more more powerlifting. But I get a lot of wrestlers in my gym. I train, like high school wrestlers, and the same type of training applies. You want to be able to be highly explosive at the beginning of the match, but if you're not able to be explosive, in the third period when it really counts, when both people are tired, when the real match actually starts, I think that's the main key, is being able to have more lasting strength, so to speak. So being strong, being able to repeat that strength, and that's got to be built up over time. And I agree with you on that. You need to build up that endurance and that power, and that'll carry over into that strength aspect. So yeah, that's a good tip, man. So I guess for people, just general public people, looking to get into MMA training, I guess what would some of the easiest ways these people can get into that type of stuff? I guess what type of workouts should they focus in on? What should they be doing?
I think I really like sandbag type of stuff, or like even like the battling ropes.
Yep.
Reason being is that it has a lot to do with balance, because the better your balance is, the better you're off. Like the better off you are, because so many times in a mixed martial art match, or even kickbox, or even wrestling, you're gonna find yourself not always fully based, but still have to explode and still have to move.
Yeah.
And so anything that encompasses a balancing plus, like when you do like sandbag swings, the more torque you can get into the movement, you're going to see that your feet are going to move, and it's going to be hard to keep your feet planted, but yet you're using your core to gain the strength, and that's the balanced strength that you have to develop.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. That's one of the main reasons I love sandbag training, just with everybody across the board. Whether you're an athlete, you're just somebody looking to get in shape, get lean and build muscle. Those sandbags are just unbelievable. That's one of the reasons I have sandbags in like all my programs. Is it requires athleticism, across the board, like you mentioned. So it creates so many different things: strength, power, balance, total athleticism. So I agree. So let's kind of switch gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about your nutrition, because I know with MMA, you mentioned with your BJJ, the weight class really didn't matter, but I mean over these years you've been able to keep yourself in very, very good shape. Obviously the training plays a huge role, but on the other end of things, most people know nutrition is a huge component of that. So let's kind of dig into I guess what your focus is with nutrition.
So basically, nutrition is I'm real simple about the whole thing. I just watch the carbs and the protein levels, and I try to keep that even as much as possible. I always keep myself really hydrated. But every time some fad diet comes out, I'm always going to try it out and see what it's like. Eat
Yeah.
for your blood type, the
Yeah.
hunter farmer diet. I mean, I do them all, and that way I can see how my body reacts to it. The only ones that I kind of stay away from are the ones that may that might start you to get bloated or get you to get big. So like I think the bodybuilders now are doing this fruit like thing where they're just like pounding the fruit
Yeah.
and then doing a teaspoon of table salt or rock salt or something crazy like that. And a lot of them are starting to win all these national events. And I was just looking, I was just talking to one of the guys from Hawaii that just came back from Vegas, and a bunch of guys, like the first 10 days, you start getting all bloated from all this fruit and salt, and it's a weird thing. That I won't try.
Yeah. That's funny that you mentioned that because, well, I mean, when it comes to some certain diets, it might get you to a point where you look, extremely lean and, jacked up or whatever, but you got to think about what's going on the inside of your body. Is it helping your digestive system, and most diets, extreme diets, kind of like that, what it sounds like. I've actually never heard of that one, but, there's the, the hardcore bodybuilding diets, which basically, you cut all your fat, low calories, just pretty much protein and liquid fats, so like omegas, and no carbs, obviously. And I mean, you can get extremely lean with that, but at the same time, that's messing up your digestive system, and I mean that just leads to so many other problems. But like you mentioned, I mean, just keep it simple. And I guess you mentioned the carbs and proteins. So I guess how do you specifically time those out? Just try to keep your carbs around after your workouts and different times like that.
Yeah, so basically the way I do it is just in my meals I just try to eyeball, from so many years of doing it, I kind of got the eyeball of how much protein and how much carbs. But after my workouts, the just like the basic theory, within an hour after, I'll take in a protein shake and that at that time some kind of good complex carbohydrates at the same time, and just real simple. And I think the dieting has gotten so crazy. And I've tried carrying the cooler around and eating 6 times a day, but I think what works for me best is making sure that I get my my nutrition after my workouts, and then throughout the day, if I feel hungry, I'm gonna eat. If I don't feel hungry, I'm not gonna eat. And if it's 12 o'clock and it's supposed to be lunchtime, if I'm not hungry, it's not lunchtime.
Yeah.
And I just kind of base it upon that, and I try not to eat late at night, and I before I sleep, I try to sleep with only liquids or just basically water. A couple hours before I sleep.
Interesting. Good stuff, man. Cool. So just, I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's just the basics. Eating real food, just kind of eyeballing it. You just got to get used to it and be consistent with it, most importantly, and don't fall for these, fad diets. It's always going to come back to, the simple stuff that works, These fad diets will come and go, and, like the bodybuilder diet you were talking about, which is interesting. I'll have to research that and check it out, but
yeah,
doesn't sound healthy. That's for sure. You might be eating fruit,
sure.
but doesn't sound healthy. So let's switch gears again and kind of get back to what you're doing currently with like the MMA training. Now that's something that really got me interested, and I know that you got a new system that you're coming out with, and you posted up a few videos the other day, which I checked out. And now, is this with your MMA training? Are you mainly just doing like body weight training, or I guess how is that all set up?
Yeah, so basically the new system that I'm coming out with for mass people to get into is just a body weight system where basically there's no equipment, but it's using your hands, hand movement, leg movements. And the great thing about that is just moving your hand that much faster while, say, doing lunges or squats, or do a lunge coming up with a kick at the top or a knee at the top and then continuing punches. It just adds that whole element of timing,
Sure.
coordination, and it'll just make you a better athlete, and it jacks your heart rate.
Awesome, man. And now with any and all interviews I do, I always have to get a special workout from you. So I'm sure if you've checked out my blog that you've seen like the different Thursday throwdowns that I do. I usually post up like a short challenge workout. And so I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I'm going to have you create, a short Thursday throwdown workout that I can post up so people can take it on. So I'm digging into your brain here. What are we going to do, man?
Okay, so one of the things that I really like to do on these workouts is what we call ground punching. So it's a good challenge workout because you want me to show it to you real quick?
Yeah.
I'll let me move this real quick. So let me see if you can see the ground. Can you see the ground right here?
Yep.
Okay, so basically you start in like a standing position here, and it's almost like it's resembling like a knee in the belly. So you see guys pass a person's guard, get to the side, you got your knee in the guy's belly, and then you're throwing down punches.
Okay.
So basically what you're doing is as this knee hits the ground, you're throwing a punch. Not that you're hitting the ground really hard. You can just touch it here, and then you just change positions here.
Okay.
So we're gonna go 1 minute round just like here.
Ooh.
And then you're going to stand right into a squat. As you recover, you're going to squat and then do a push kick, right? Okay. Squat and push kick, okay? So you're going to do that for like a 30-second recovery. And then we're going to go back into this ground punches again, okay? Nice. But what we're going to do with this ground punches that's going to make it a little different is when we come to this ground punch, we're going to jump. So we're going to come up and jump.
You make it explosive.
Okay, landing as light as you can, almost like those 180 jumps.
Yep.
And that's going to burn up your legs again. And then we're going to come back again. This time we're going to come up with a high knee. So we're going to lift that knee, squat, and then just send that knee up for 30 seconds. And then we're going to go right back to this again. So notice how I'm turning my whole body. That's the key because it's really easy to just go here.
Yep.
But it doesn't stimulate anything in a real fight. Whereas this, getting the hip and the shoulder to turn at the same time, is going to get that power. And you're going to feel those legs burn.
Yeah.
So that would be kind of like a 4.5 minute workout. Is that about as long as your challenges go?
Yeah, and with those moves, just looking at those moves, and like you were mentioning, you're going to be rotating through the core. You're implementing some power in there as well. And yeah, that's going to fry you out quick. So that would be perfect. To throw
is that good?
End of a strength session. Yeah, definitely, man. You're breathing heavy.
Because there's so much variations. I mean, there's the sprawls and one-handed sprawls and one-legged sprawls you add into that, and it can be super fun.
So is that with that you just showed? Is that the type of stuff that you got within your new MMA program?
Yep. So that's like that's kind of like some of the exercises that you'd see in the MMA program. No, no weights at all, but it'll burn you up quick.
Definitely. Yeah. And kind of tell me more about that because I'm interested in like the basic setup. Like how long is it? Is it just workouts that you pick to do at certain times, or is it actually like programmed out and you follow it for a certain amount of weeks, or how's it set up?
The way it's set up is just I got like 12-minute workouts. I got some longer workouts, and then I got like fighters abs workouts in there. And it's not set up where you have to do it at specific days, but it's just kind of like workouts that you could do, say, for a week. Because sometimes the first day to get the movement might be hard, and so what happens is you don't really get the good workout from it. But by the second day, you pretty much got it. And the workout gets better. The more technical and the better you get with the movement, the better the workout gets. So as you do that, it's kind of like a progression. So it kind of starts off a little easier where you kind of learn the movements, but still get your heart rate jacked up, and then slowly it starts kicking up.
Yeah, it's always about progression, man, definitely. So, and it's interesting you mentioned their 12-minute workouts. So we go back to what you were talking about earlier is like, putting that focused intensity into these workouts shorter, and, it's not always necessarily more is better. So people just automatically have like a thought in their head, like a lot of the times anymore is just, well, the workout's not an hour. What are we going to be doing? It's like, trust me, I can put you through a 3-minute routine and you'll be done for the day, So it's all focus, intensity, and going back to that short little, we got to come up with some sort of name for that, man. What's the name? We got to come up with a special name for that.
The short workouts?
The workout that you just showed us.
When I just gave you? Up. Oh, man. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I usually call that movement ground punching, ground punches, or, knee in the belly. And I'm not too creative about names and stuff.
I'll come up with some crazy name when I post it, but that right there, I mean, just with the movements that you're showing, I already know, it's gonna wipe people out. I can't. I'm gonna hit it up and I'll post it up like I always do on the blog. So, what's the way that you can score yourself? Is it just like how many punches you can get plus kicks? I guess you're going minute rounds, right?
Yeah, so you go to minute round, and the way you're going to score yourself is if you're going to be able to continually do it for the whole minute.
Okay.
And you're going to see that you're going to slow up, but there's points where you're just going to have to stop.
Yep.
And you're trying to do it with speed, speed as much as you can.
Yep. Okay.
And that's the only way you score yourself. And then the more rounds that you can do. So right now we got like a 4.5 minute is what we showed you right there, but that can go 12 minutes.
Yeah, you can go 12 rounds, man.
Yeah.
So
because basically a 12 minutes worth of it is only so
very cool, man. So we're going 1 minute rounds of punches, then 1 minute rounds of kicks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I got that. Good deal, man. All right, well, we're getting to about the 40-minute mark here, and like I already know that you're busy and you're taking the time out of your day, so we're going to go ahead and cash things out here. But before we go, why don't you just go over like where people can find you, your website, all that good stuff, man.
Okay, so you can find me basically on my blog is MMAbodyweightworkouts.com/blog, and then I got all the different workouts on there.
Mm-hmm.
I try to get like some scenery from Hawaii, so last week's workout was on Pipeline, so on the North Shore. That's basically it. And if you're going to look at my programs, it's on MMAbodyweightworkouts.com, and then that's where my sales page is. You can pick up a 12-minute workout for free. Just add your email address in there. And that's it. You can check me out on Facebook also on my my fan page.
Very cool, man. And one more thing I want to ask you is, with all the success that you've had, the championships in racquetball, starting off in an early age, and then to BJJ, and then obviously in MMA, you just dominated. What are just a few key success tips that you can share with people that might be watching this that, want to excel in their sport, or, maybe they're not an athlete and they just want to excel in life, and just be the best they can be? I mean, with the amount of success you got, I know you got some good stuff. So what are just a few tips that you can give right off the bat?
I think one of the most important things is that you got to dare to dream. So you have to know what you want and dream about it, and come up with your path and how you're going to get there. I think that's the key. A lot of it is mental, and it's almost like that preacher story that you always hear, about that person wanting to be a preacher, and he held him under the water for a long time, just about till he drowns, and then when he pops up, he goes, "What were you thinking about?" And the guy says, "All he was thinking about is air." And I think that's really the key to the whole thing, is that when I was competing for racquetball, all I thought about was racquetball. I thought about every avenue of racquetball, everything possible I could do to get good in racquetball, physical, mental, diet, and the same thing, jiu-jitsu, MMA, it was the same thing. You just have to dedicate yourselves, and you got to be 100%, 110%, and just go for it.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff. And that's something I always mention is, you got to write your goals down, so it's constantly just streaming through your brain, and you're constantly thinking about it. And over time, you keep doing that enough. I mean, obviously, if the passion is there and it's strong enough, it's gonna be in your subconscious mind, and you're gonna be thinking about it all the time, and you'll just naturally, do the things in life to bring that success your way. So that's awesome stuff, man. Coming from a champion in 3 different separate things, which is more than, what a lot of people can say. So that's awesome stuff, man. But thanks again for taking the time to, do this aggressive strength talk. I know people will get some good stuff from this, and I look forward to your new program. And even though this short workout, which I'll come up with a name with here soon, and I'll let you know, it's only 4.5 minutes or so. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not looking forward to it. But I'll let you know how it goes, man. And thanks. So we'll go ahead and catch it out. So everybody that was watching, make sure you take action on all the stuff we talked about here, because knowledge is great, but applied knowledge is the powerful knowledge. So dream big and go after stuff. Keep living aggressive, getting strong. We're out.
All right. Thank you.